Well, Anthony Fauci had a meeting today with Congress. It's amazing what happens when you got money, what you can get by with. And he's pleading the fifth to every fucking thing. Everything they asked. And they asked him what color tie he had on. Basic, basic questions, and he's pleading the fifth. Okay, well, if you're not guilty of something, why do you need a pardon? Why do you need to plead the fifth to everything if you ain't guilty of nothing? You know? And like the one guy asked him, uh, you got a pardon, so you can't plead the fifth, and you know that. But yet he broke the law under what the Supreme Court had to say about it. And then that attorney that was sitting there when they first got there, sitting at the table, he was told not to not to sit there, and he violated the rules, had to be taken out by security. Um, it just don't make a whole lot of sense, folks. The attorney should be arrested for interference for breaking the fucking rules. Right there, he should have been arrested. And Fauci should go to prison. But it's like everybody else, just like when Hillary Clinton told all her lies. You got money, you can put anything you want on a government server, and nothing fucking gets done to you. When's enough enough? When are American people, not politicians, going to stand up and say we've had enough? People need to be protesting at their state capitol buildings. They need to be having 1 million people down in D.C. That's the problem. That's why these people get by with what they get by with, because we don't stand up against them, folks. We allow them to do this. We allow them to waste taxpayer dollars and have meetings for somebody that had people killed, over a fucking vaccine. Somebody that didn't care. I never got the shot because I knew from day one that it was bullshit. I hated to even have to go to the bank during that time because you had to wear a fucking mask. I couldn't wear them. Couldn't breathe. I already have problems breathing as it is, and this motherfucker gonna tell everybody they gotta wear a mask, knowing it don't work. Commits fraud against the country, but it's okay. Commits fraud against American people, but it's okay because he's a millionaire, right? All he was worried about was his TV exposure. But we're supposed to trust doctors, right? When's enough, people? When do we stand up? When do we put a common man back in that White House? And I ain't talking about a millionaire. When do we put common people back in Congress? You guys better wake up, because if you don't, we're not going to have a country left. I've said it. I'll say it again. It's all bullshit, folks. When are we going to start grabbing people up by the nape of the neck and saying you're out of here? Putting our foot up their ass and saying you're out of here. That's what we needed to do. And as far as Iran goes, get an atomic bomb and drop it on them. And leave nothing but desert. And don't fix their country either. You want to end this war. Why is Donald Trump playing with them? That's how I look at it. Alright, y'all have a blessed day. You may catch me with another video later. Alright, have a good one.